Oh, I.
Hello.
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 Hi.
Is this yours?
Yes.
Is that your new cell phone?
Yes, this is mine. Hello.
Who is it?
Hello.
Couldn't mess up all the recording devices.
Second tier people. Right. Let them block.
Very
I
intrusive.
got your back, Francis. I got your back, bro. Absolutely.
All right.
Well, no.
Right. It's like somebody just talks so loud into the microphone.
Tuesday.
Liam was doing Facebook?
Yeah. Just so every single time.
But then pretend like
Every
it wasn't
time.
actually
Yeah. And then I just still think that would be so funny.
I think we would win too.
Doors opens nationally November 22nd. Today there's no photography, there's no video, there's no autographs. And then we're also going to ask you to stay seated when we're done so we can get the talent out of the room. So really quickly, can we do a voice ID for everyone just to help you transcribe? Starting in the back with Jeffrey, if you could just say your name and your character name.
Jeffrey Wright. BT.
Sam Claflin, alcoholic. Sorry, Finnick.
Woody Harrelson, Hamish.
Lenny Kravitz, Cinna.
Nina Jacobson.
Jenna Malone, Joanna Mason.
Francis Lawrence, director.
Elizabeth Banks, Effie Trinket.
Liam Hemsworth, Gail.
Josh Hutcherson, Peter.
Jennifer Lawrence, Katniss.
Donald Sutherland, President Snow.
Let's start right away with James right here.
Thank you very kindly. Fans have found these books and these films and the collective story they tell for a variety of reasons, whether it's personal relationships or enjoying the political allegory or just enjoying the action. Would any members of the cast and their crew like to say succinctly what they most enjoy about this series of stories and films?
Oh, how do we decide who to answer?
I guess it's a no.
Is it?
Jennifer?
It's me.
Yeah,
I
it's
know. I'm just kidding. I would love to tell you what I love about these movies. I think that it's. I was personally very excited when I first started reading these books. Just that there was such a big series that young adults would be reading, and something that was actually very important. I think that it's a wonderful message to show just how powerful one voice can be. It's very easy as a society for us to just kind of follow the feet in front of us, and history does kind of repeat itself. And I think that it's an important message for our younger generation to see how important they are into shaping our society and our future.
Thank you, Fred.
Was it?
Can I just say one thing? I think it, for me, it was essential for me personally that I somehow find my way to become a part of this, because it more clearly represents the dangers of an oligarchy of the privileged than anything I've seen for a long, long time.
Also, badass female protagonist.
And
I'm
not so
talking about
badass
Effie.
Peter.
Hi, my question's for Francis. Last year we all met Gary Ross directing the first Hunger Games. You took over for this film and also signed on for the next two. So what consistencies are we going to notice between Catching Fire and the Mockingjay movies?
Between Catching Fire and the Mockingjay movies? Well, I think one of the things that I wanted to make sure of was that there was still an aesthetic unity to all of the movies. And I thought Gary did an amazing job with the world building in the Hunger Games, and so we worked with the same production designer to make sure that the Capitol still was built from the same architecture, that District 12 still had the same, almost 1930s Appalachia feel. And we're going to do the same with Mockingjay. And, the fun thing about Mockingjay, though, is that we actually get to see a bunch of new districts. We get to see the Capitol in a very new way. We'll actually be down and sort of in the middle of the streets of the Capitol, which will be fantastic. But we worked with the production design team to make sure there was an aesthetic unity all the way through.
This question goes to Nina and to Francis. Nina, last year we talked at great length about the tonal bandwidth in creating the world of the Hunger Games and finding the collaborative tone between the visuals and the emotional aspects of the film. You have new voices with Simon Beaufoy as your screenwriter and Francis as a director. So what were some of the considerations to maintain a continuity of tonal bandwidth with the emotion and the visuals while allowing these new voices to spring forth?
Well, I think the heart of these movies is Katniss's point of view, and as long as you remain sort of firmly in her shoes, I think that's what will always give you the consistency throughout, because as a character, she is a complex character. She changes, but she sort of grounds us, I think, throughout the series. But I think this movie opened up a lot of new opportunities for us because we spent so much more time in the Capitol, and we have an arena which is itself the opponent, as opposed to the characters being each other's opponents. And so, with Francis, I think he was able to expand the world enormously while still staying very true to what was that character-based, emotionally honest approach that the first movie took.
Hi, this is for Jeffrey and for Lenny. Would you both talk about the attraction of doing this movie? And for Jeffrey, you're now part of this franchise, so talk about your impression of the first movie, and talk about, would you both describe what you like about your characters and what you don't like about your characters?
Wow.
Lenny, you want to take it?
Where do we begin? What was the first question?
The first question was the attraction of doing, what attracted you to do the movie, and then talk about your character.
Well, first of all, the story. It's great storytelling. You can have all of these great actors and actresses and directors and people, but at the end of the day, it was a really well-written story with really good characters. And I didn't know anything about Hunger Games before I got the call from Gary Ross. I didn't know about it. I was in the Bahamas working on music and in the jungle somewhere, and I got this phone call about Hunger Games, and I had to download it and read it. And once I read it, I was hooked. I read the whole book in one night, and my character Cinna, he works for the Capitol, obviously. He's quiet. He does his job, but he has an instant attraction to Katniss. He understands who she is. He believes in her abilities, and he wants to be there for her. And they begin this friendship. In this film, he's even more quiet, but he's at the point now where he's ready to make a statement to really show who he is and what side he's on, and he does that very strongly when he presents the wedding dress that President Snow wants Katniss to wear. You've all seen it. The dress turns into the Mockingjay, and he has to face some grave consequences for that. But I like that he speaks through his art. Jeffrey?
Thank you, Lenny. I was using that to collect my thoughts. I had to bide some time, so thank you for that assistance. Well, one of the things, aside from the thematics of the storytelling that attracted me to this, was that there had already been this extraordinary work done by many of the folks who were assembled here. So I had an opportunity then to kind of piggyback on their efforts. I like Lenny. I was maybe in a jungle in West Africa somewhere, so in Sierra Leone. So I missed out on a lot of the fanfare around the first one. But when I was called, in my case, by Francis to be a part of this, I dug in and I realized that there was something very interesting happening here, particularly, as Jennifer said, for younger audiences, because, this is, epic, movie making of a scale that we see a lot of now. But at the same time, there are these poignant, relevant ideas that are being presented to young minds, young developing minds that I think are really essential. And they're not specific, but they just are presented in an intelligent way that allows each reader or each audience member to place themselves within the world and make these considerations that are relevant to their lives outside of the theater. And I think, for me, that's what it just seems to make sense, that you entertain, but at the same time, you provide, it, in some ways, a kind of escapism, but a kind of relevant escapism that doesn't discount the complexities of, who we are and what our world is undergoing now. So,
Elizabeth and Jennifer, can you talk about how strong it is and how good it is to have strong female character leads? How great is that for you? And to talk about what's your feelings on having a Lionsgate today announcing the Hunger Games being a theme park. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't know.
Oh, you're running a theme park now. You didn't know?
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, you're
and
a ride.
Very fitting. I feel more prepared for that than this. Better equipped. Elizabeth, I'll let you take the...
Well, I don't know why you would do that. Well, Jennifer is an amazing actress who gets amazing roles, and I wish that she gets them always and forever for the rest of her life. I've been doing it a little longer, and I know there's a lot of girlfriends out there, roles, and a lot of wives, and a lot of supporting roles that are less interesting than Katniss. I hope for her that she gets to play Katniss-level roles forever and ever. They're rare, and I think this movie, Gravity, I'm so excited to be seeing such amazing, strong female role models in the movies for the 50% of moviegoers who are ladies.
Thanks. That's why I let you go first. Thank you, Elizabeth.
I'm Lynn. Hi. Sam and Jenna, you're new to the franchise, and I love both your characters. What do you love about them the most, and is there something about each one that you really identify with?
Ladies first.
I think I loved every single thing about Joanna Mason. When I read the novels in 48 hours because I had my wisdom teeth out, and I just laid in bed and ate a lot of ice cream and just poured through them and was just sobbing at the end and was just so emotionally invested. I think for me, beyond just the seed of the novels and the amazing cast and an incredible director and the fact that this kind of book was so well received within a young audience was that they were hungry for it, and that it's a sort of a symbiotic relationship. Is you can't create a good idea without someone wanting to receive that good idea. And I feel like it's a really incredible thing to know that, this new generation is hungry for a different type of sense of identity. They're looking for something else in stories that are being sold to them. And, they don't want it sugar-coated anymore. And what I thought was so amazing about Joanna Mason is that she kind of represented a lot of that in the sense that she doesn't sugarcoat. And she is hardcore and truthful and violent and angry. And all of those things are also just about... they're not just cool aspects of her. There's nothing, I don't really think that that's a badass thing. I think it's actually a survival technique, and I think that's a really interesting thing to talk about for young women, to understand that they can take on tools and personality traits that may not be their own, but they can use them in forms of survival to be able to sort of elevate themselves in the world, which I think is pretty cool.
Ben, so I have to say I was slightly intimidated